Hello friends, we are going to study Ben Jonson's Wolfson or the Fox. Introduction. It was published at 1607 as a quarto and 1616 as a part of Jonson's collected works. It was performed at Oxford and Cambridge universities. In his epistle means a letter, Johnson dedicates Wolfson to Oxford and Cambridge University and mentioned both the universities as most equal sisters. In prologue, he uses acrostic poem, which means each letters from the lines starts with any particular. For examples, in the argument, which has merely 7 lines, which covers the name of Wolfson. Let me read the argument. Wolfson, childless, rich, fine, sick, despairs, offer his states to hope of several hires, lies languishing, his parasite reserves, present of all, assures, deludes the waves. Other process plots, which of themselves are told. New tricks for safety are sought, they thrive when bold. Each tempts the other gain, and all are sold. Characters. First one, Wolfson. He is a central character and he is a Magnifico. And Moscow is a Wolfson's parasite. Walter, an advocate. Corbaccio, an old man. Corvino, a merchant. These three promise to be the heirs of Wolfson. Next one, Bonario. He is the son of Corbaccio. And Celia, she is the wife of Corvino. And Sir Politic would be, he is a knight. And lady would be his wife. Peregrine is a gentleman traveler. Nano, Castrino, and Andrigino, they are all called as fools. And Nano is a dwarf, Castron is an eunuch, and Andrigino is an hermaphrodite. Last one, Avogadri, they are 4 magistrates. Johnson summarizes about the plot of the play in prologue. Act 1, Scene 1. Wolfson wakes up from his bed, prizing his gold. He compares gold with spring sun at a winter season. Next one, this gold is brighter than sun. Third one, age of gold has been considered as one of the greatest age of the history. Then gold brings more happiness to him than having a family and friends. Then gold is greater than looks of Venus and a love of 20,000 cubits. Next, he compares his gold with a saint. Next, those who possess gold that will transform hell into heaven. When he is praising a gold about too many comparisons, when he is praising the gold, Mosca interrupts by saying that wisdom is better than gold. Then Wolfson held a meeting with their clients, like dangling a cherry in front of their mouth and let them hurt their tongue. Which means he is going to make desire of them be the heirs of his own will, but he is not going to do that really. At scene 2, a skit performed by these 3 clowns, Nano, Andrigino, and Castron, under the topic Soul of Pythagoras. As we know that Pythagoras has the power of transmitting the soul, but they end a skit with a funny twist. Pythagoras' soul has been transmigrated into Andrigino. Moscow sings a song of praise for visualizing the free skit. Then, first client, Walter, enters. Scene 3. When Walter makes his present, Wolfson pretends to be a person who is edged at the death. Walter offers an antique plate and Mosca promises that Walter is a hire of Wolfson and asks for advocacy if needed. Here advocacy means if they caught in some of a problem, Walter should be responsible to make the case clear. Then Wolfson chooses Walter because of his profession. After that, Corbaccio, his second client, arrives. Scene 4. Corbaccio offers opiate, which means drugs for sleeping. Mosca declines by saying that Wolfson doesn't believe any doctor either of his prescription. Corbaccio asks about Wolfson's apoplexy. Apoplexy means stroke. He describes the symptoms and Mosca asks Corbaccio to write all his will to Valfon's name than his own son Bonario. Later, Corbaccio can have both the fortunes of Valfon and Corbaccio to his son Bonario. After that, Corbaccio gave a bag of gold coins and leave. Scene 5. Corvino enters with a pearl and a diamond. Mosca informs that Valfon is near to death. According to him, Valfon cannot hear and speak. He kept diamond in his hand so that he can recognize Corvino. Mosca shouts at Valfon and asks Corvino to join us. Valfon is deaf. At last, Valfon took his gift and called them as a good morning purchase. Lady would-be Politic came and Valfon asked her to share 3 houses with him. Mosca describes about the beauty of Corvino's wife. In Act 1, Walter offers an antique plate and Corbaccio offers a bag of gold coins. Corvino offers a diamond and a pearl. Lady would-be offered to spare a night with him. Act 2, Scene 1. Sir Politic would-be and Peregrine dwell in a conversation about their hometown, England. Sir Politic informs to Peregrine that his wife is fond of Venice. That is the reason of his arrival to Venice. Sir Politic mocks at Peregrine by saying that a raven takes a refuge in King's royal ship. He is directly mocking at Peregrine. He is living under Sir Politic. Peregrine mocks back by saying that a lioness gave birth in the Tower of London and adds that he is a great actor because he is not arrived to Venice out of his wife's wish but his own intention. Scene 2. While discussing the death of Master Stone, Sir Politic suspects a clown must be a spy. Nano and Mosca is in a disguise of mountebank. Mountebank means a person who sells medicine in platform. Valfon enters in disguise of Scotto of Mantua, a well-known mountebank. He tries to seduce Corvino's wife Celia. At Scene 3, Valfon advertises an oil named Oglio del Scotto and adds that health is more important than of gold. He gives the oil to a person and asks handkerchief in return. On seeing this happening, Celia, Corvino's wife, throws a handkerchief and he promises to repay it with the magic powder. At Scene 4, at Valfon's house, he tells Mosca that he can do anything to win Celia and plan to cuckold Corvino. At Scene 5, Corvino accuses Celia for having a relationship with the mountebank, but Celia denies that she is not leaving the house except for churches. Corvino closes the window and he warns her not to interfere in his business. At Scene 6 and 7, Mosca knocks at Corvino's door. He accepts the death of Valfon and says that Valfon is getting better after having Oglio del Scotto, and a doctor suggested to spend a night with a woman. When Corvino suggests that prostitutes, he denies it by saying that he can't trust them and informs about Lupo, a doctor, offered his daughter, but Corvino promises to send his wife. Corvino patches up with his wife and requested her to spend a night with Valfon. Act 3, Scene 1. Mosca delivers a soliloquy and calls himself a subtle snake. He is very proud that he is a parasite and he must inherit this talent as a natural and it cannot be learned. At Scene 2, Corbaccio and Bonario shout at Mosca for being seductive. Mosca planned him that he is do such things because he is lacking money. Mosca promises that he will witness about Corbaccio's disinheritance of Bonario. At Scene 3 and 4, Valfon's house, Andrigino, Nano and Gaston are playing a little play. Lady would-be enters about Valfon explains about his dream. At Scene 5, 6 and 7, Mosca lies about Lady would-be husband had an affair with some other woman. She leaves the place by presenting him a cap. Mosca asks Bonario to hide himself in the Valfon's room so that he can witness the disinheritance of his father. But Corvino and Celia arrives. Corvino pleases Celia to spend night with Walford. She replies instead she can lock into a dark room. He asks her to consider it is as a charity. Walford wants Celia. Mosca promises that Corvino became his heir. Celia replies that it's better for her to drink poison, and both of them left Celia in Walford's room. Walford sings a poem for Celia, Robert Herrick's, to the virgins to make much of time. Walford tries to seduce her by using his wealth, but she denies that her chastity means everything to her. If she loses it, she loses everything. Bonario's impatience makes him jump off and take Celia and exit out of the window. Walford felt that he has been unmasked. At scene 8 and 9, Walford hears a knock at the door. He fears it may be a policeman, but Corbaccio enters. Mosca complains that Bonario wounded him and looking for Corbaccio to kill him for disinheritance. Walter appears about the news he had heard that Corbaccio is a heir, and Mosca convinces that Walter can possess all the inheritance after Bonario killed his own father Corbaccio. Walter sends a man for Corvino to Scrutino, which means a judgment house. At Act 4, Scene 1, Sir Politic is giving information about the guidelines to a gentleman traveller. He should have proper dressing and eloquent conversation, and he should not tell any truth that may trouble him. Third one, the proper way of handling utensils. Fourth one, he should be interested in religion but should not take part in it. He gives 4 important projects to become rich in quick time. First one, how he serves Venice for 3 years. Second one, usage of tinder boxes. Third one, using onions and bellows to control the plague in ship, which cannot spread to everyone. Fourth one, he would sell the state to Italy to the Turks. At scenes 2 and 3, Lady Woodby accuses her husband for having an affair, and she doubts Peregrine as a woman in disguise. Mosca enters and informs that the woman is none other than Celia. Then Lady Woodby apologizes to Peregrine. Peregrine wants to take revenge on Sir Politic Woodby because he made fun of him using his wife. At scene 4, at the courthouse, Mosca reassures the lies about Bonario and Celia to Corbaccio, Walter, and Corvino. Mosca brings in another witness, Lady Woodby. At scenes 5 and 6, courthouse, the 4 abbatory wants Walford's presence, but Walter rejects it by saying that he came in behalf of Walford. Walter argues that Bonario's behavior may disinherit him. He describes about the Bonario's entrance into Walford's house and wounded Mosca. He shows a witness that makes Celia faint. Lady Woodby accuses Celia for seducing his husband too. The vacatory orders Celia and Bonario for punishment. At Act 5, Scene 1 and 2, Walford fakes illness, but he feels the symptoms of real dead palsy. Walford bursts into laughter about his lie in courthouse. Walford raps new yell saying that Mosca is his heir. Walford asks Nano and Castro to spread Walford's death. At scene 3, every client enters into Walford's house and asks for their fortune. Mosca lists the Walford's fortune and discloses all of their mistakes to inherit Walford's fortune. After they leave, Walford praises Mosca wants to get out in disguise. At scene 4, Sir Politic teases by Peregrine in disguise of a government official. He said Peregrine was a spy to tell about his plans to sell the state to Turks. Sir Politic orders his servant to burn the papers, and finally Peregrine says that it is a drama and the truth. Sir Politic wants to leave the Venice permanently. At scene 5, Mosca plays a trick by locking Andrigino and Nano Castro inside Walford's room to entertain him and locks him until Walford shares his fortune. At scene 6, 7, 8 and 9, Walford mocks all his clients for being fool in Walford's things. Walphone is still in disguise. At court, Walter exposes the truth, but Corvino and Corbaccio fail to accept it, saying that Walter is a evil. At scene 11, Walphone worries that he made mistake in mocking Walter. Then the three clowns enters and discloses about Mosca, and Walphone realizes the betrayal of his parasite. At scene 12, Walphone is in disguise at the court and witnesses about Walphone's real presence. Mosca tells Walphone is dead and promises Walphone disguise to share the fortune. Walphone takes off his disguise and it makes Moscow feel guilty in front of the avogadries. Walphone becomes really ill. Walter is dispaught as a lawyer. Corbaccio is disinherited, and Corvino sent Celia to her father by paying back 3 times of the dowry, and rode around Venice wearing a hat and donkey ears. Here the play ends. Thank you, friends. So far we have seen Ben Jonson, Walphone of the Fox. Next we will be seeing Christopher Marlowe, Dr. Faustus.